Time seemed to stretch impossibly as Captain Rice and his team sprinted through the twisting corridors of the alien weapons platform, the countdown blaring in their ears. 10 seconds. The station groaned beneath their feet, the power surging as the weapon's core hummed to life, preparing to unleash its devastating energy. Earth's fate hung by a thread. Rice could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Hargrave's betrayal had shattered the core of their trust, but there was no time for vengeance. If they didn't stop the weapon, it was all over. Earth would burn, and humanity's defiance would be snuffed out. "Move faster," Rice shouted as his team pushed forward, their breath coming in ragged gasps. The walls pulsed with an unnatural energy, their feet echoing through the metallic halls. He could feel the tremors in the air. Each second felt like an eternity. As they reached the chamber that housed the weapon's core, the sight before them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The massive core, a swirling mass of unstable energy, stood at the center of a vast chamber, surrounded by glowing runes and alien technology that defied comprehension. The countdown clock, projected above the core, flickered dangerously. 5 seconds. "Get to the control panel," Rice barked, pointing to a console beside the core. His team was already moving, their training kicking in as they took their positions. Rice's heart pounded in his chest as he tried to push away the noise, the sound of the countdown, the memory of Hargrave's taunts, the crushing weight of failure that loomed over them. "It's locked," shouted Sergeant Leela Hayes, her voice tinged with panic. The alien systems were too advanced, the interface too alien. There was no time to decode it. Rice moved quickly, grabbing a disruptor from his belt, a modified piece of alien technology they had scavenged during their earlier missions. He fired it at the control panel. Sparks flew, and the interface momentarily blinked, but the countdown continued. 3 seconds, shouted Hayes. In that moment, Rice knew what had to be done. His eyes locked onto the core. There was no other option. He bolted for the center, his voice barely audible as he shouted, "I'll overload the core. Get clear." His team tried to protest, but Rice was already moving, his hands working furiously to reroute the core's energy channels. The weapon was built for destruction, but Rice knew enough about the alien tech to understand one critical flaw. It could be turned against itself. "Rice, no," Lieutenant Emma Kim yelled, but it was too late. Rice initiated the overload sequence, flooding the core with its own power. The station erupted with a deafening roar. The walls of the chamber buckled, and the weapon's energy began to spiral out of control. The countdown clock flashed its final second. And then, all at once, the station shook violently. Outside, Hargrave watched from the shadows, his expression unreadable. "You were right about one thing, Reyes," he muttered. "You never understood the stakes." But as the weapon's core detonated in a brilliant flash of light, Hargrave's mocking smile faltered. The energy surged outward, but it was no longer aimed at Earth. The weapon had backfired. It had detonated within the station, its own energy collapsing inward, destroying the entire platform. In the aftermath, there was nothing left of the weapon, nothing but a void in space where the platform had once stood. Cliffhanger. As the survivors drifted in the aftermath, their comms crackled to life. A chilling message came through the static. "This is not over. You have only delayed the inevitable." A fleet of Galactic Authority warships loomed on the horizon. But this time, they were not alone. There was something else, something darker, and it was coming for Earth. The tension between Earth and the Galactic Authority had escalated beyond any hope of diplomacy. The alien fleet, a terrifying sight of sleek, incomprehensible vessels, hovered just beyond Saturn's rings. To the untrained eye, the sight was breathtaking. An enormous armada with shimmering lights cutting through the cold vacuum of space. But for the people of Earth, the sight was a symbol of impending doom. It was no longer just a question of negotiation. The Galactic Authority had come to crush Earth's resolve, and the first wave of attack was imminent. The alien warships, brimming with unimaginable technology, were ready to fire upon Earth's delicate orbital defenses. They had underestimated Earth's ability to mobilize. But now, the cost of that oversight would become painfully apparent. General Mara Voss stood in the control room of the newly established Terran Command, staring at the holographic displays of the approaching fleet. She had been one of the first to recognize the danger, and now she had become the spearhead of Earth's military response. For all the technological superiority of the Galactic Authority, they had overlooked one crucial aspect of Earth's potential: the tenacity of its people. The Earth Defense Forces, a patchwork of previously fragmented global militaries, had rallied together, drawing on every resource at their disposal. Using retrofitted spacecraft, makeshift quantum shields, and repurposed alien technology from intercepted transmissions, Earth's forces had cobbled together a fleet of ships unlike anything the Galactic Authority had expected. And although the Terran forces were outclassed and outnumbered, they had something the Authority didn't: grit, ingenuity, and an overwhelming desire to survive. Voss, with her icy focus and unyielding resolve, led the charge. The first battle took place in the shadow of Saturn's icy moons, where Earth's forces engaged the alien fleet in a brutal orbital skirmish. The humans' tactics were unorthodox, surprising the aliens at every turn. Their ships, equipped with hastily installed alien tech, were slower and less powerful, but their crews fought with a fierce desperation. They were fighting for their homes, their families, everything they had ever known. The battle over Saturn's rings was a chaotic mess of explosions, shimmering shields, and blinding laser fire. Earth's ships, barely equipped to handle such advanced warfare, were often outmatched in direct confrontation. Yet they fought relentlessly, striking the aliens with surgical precision, exploiting every weakness they could find. To the shock of the Galactic Authority, the humans didn't retreat when they were outgunned. Instead, they hit back with everything they had. 3 Terran ships, one of them a hastily constructed experimental fusion cruiser, managed to cripple 2 of the Authority's flagship vessels, a feat that defied all expectations. Prefect Jorkal, watching from his command vessel, was enraged. His flawless strategy, so meticulously planned, was being torn apart by what he considered a primitive species. "How?" he muttered, disbelief in his voice. "How can they?" The answer was clear. Humanity's will to survive was far stronger than the Authority had ever anticipated, and Earth's resolve, much like its people, was just beginning to show its true power. Cliffhanger. As the last of the initial skirmish's explosions fade, Voss receives an alarming message. Another, far larger wave of alien ships is inbound, and they're bringing something far worse than expected. A true test of humanity's resolve was on the horizon. The pressure on Earth was mounting. After the victory over the first wave of the Galactic Authority's fleet, the invaders had regrouped and begun assembling a new armada that dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. Their reinforcements arrived in waves, each more powerful than the last. Earth's defenses, though growing stronger by the day, were still a far cry from what was needed to withstand the oncoming storm. General Mara Voss stood at the front of the strategy table in the command center, her face illuminated by the flickering lights of the holographic displays. "We can't just defend," she said, her voice as cold and unyielding as the situation demanded. "We need to strike first." The room fell silent. The idea of a preemptive strike was audacious, even reckless, but Voss had seen enough to know that Earth couldn't afford to wait for the Galactic Authority to land the killing blow. They needed to cripple their enemy's ability to track and coordinate their fleets, disrupt the nerve center of the Authority's command network. And there was only one way to do that: a covert mission to the heart of the Galactic Authority's communications hub, a massive relay station located near Proxima Centauri, in the heart of their territory. The operation, codenamed Operation Thorn, was as dangerous as it was ambitious. The team tasked with carrying it out consisted of some of Earth's finest soldiers, hackers, and engineers, men and women who had volunteered not just for the mission, but to put their lives on the line for humanity's survival. Among them was Captain Ezra Reyes, a brilliant but headstrong officer known for his tactical brilliance and his impulsive decisions. He was chosen to lead the operation, despite his reputation for bending the rules. As Reyes briefed the team, a deep unease hung in the air. The risks were overwhelming. Their target was deep in hostile space, heavily guarded, and located within a region known for its near-impenetrable defenses. Any misstep would mean the destruction of not just the team, but humanity's last chance to gain the upper hand. But if they succeeded, they would deal a devastating blow to the Galactic Authority, severely crippling their command capabilities. The mission itself was simple in theory: infiltrate the relay station, plant a virus in the core systems, and escape undetected. But Reyes and his team knew the truth. Nothing was ever simple when dealing with the vast, unknowable technology of the Galactic Authority. As the countdown began, the mission's weight bore down on them. Earth's fate was hanging by a thread, and Operation Thorn was their only hope. The journey to Proxima Centauri took longer than expected. As they approached the relay station, something unexpected occurred. The station, once a solid, unmoving structure, seemed to flicker, a strange pulse of energy rippling outward. Reyes couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As they closed in, the shadows in space seemed to grow darker. Cliffhanger. The moment they entered the station's outer orbit, a sudden wave of disorienting static filled their comms. Reyes' heart skipped a beat. "We're not alone," he muttered. A deep, malevolent hum echoed through the ship, something far more sinister than they could have prepared for. What awaited them inside the station wasn't just a communications hub. It was a trap. Captain Ezra Reyes' heart froze as the figure emerged from the shadows. The voice crackling through their comms was unmistakable, and the face that stepped into the dim light was one he never thought he would see again. "Admiral John Hargrave," Reyes muttered under his breath, a cold knot forming in his stomach. The man standing before him was once a revered leader in Earth's military, a tactical genius, and a symbol of hope during the early days of the Terran Defense Pact. He had disappeared months ago, vanishing under mysterious circumstances, leaving no trace. Now, here he was, standing on an alien weapons platform, his uniform replaced by the dark, ominous garb of the Galactic Authority. "You?" Reyes couldn't believe it. "What the hell happened to you?" Hargrave's eyes were cold, distant, a far cry from the passionate leader he once was. A twisted smile spread across his face as he spoke. "I see you've been busy. But your efforts are futile, Captain. This station was never about supplies. It's a weapon designed to finish what the Galactic Authority started. It's already armed and ready to fire." Reyes' mind raced. If the weapon Hargrave was speaking of was as destructive as it sounded, the entire planet could be obliterated with one shot. And to make matters worse, the traitor before him was the key to its activation. Hargrave had orchestrated the betrayal, feeding crucial information to the enemy. His disappearance had been a ruse, an elaborate cover for his true allegiance. "We knew there were traitors." Reyes spat, his voice filled with disbelief and rage. "But I never thought it would be you, Hargrave. You were supposed to be one of us." Hargrave's lips curled into a mocking smile. "I was never one of you. I always saw Earth as a pitiful, backward species, shackled to the past. The Galactic Authority, they understand. They offered me a future, something beyond your primitive ideas of freedom. Now, I am their agent, and Earth will kneel before them." Reyes clenched his fists, rage boiling over. "You're a damn fool. The Authority will never let you rule. You're just a pawn, Hargrave. Nothing more." "Perhaps," Hargrave said with a cold laugh. "But it will be your world that burns first." Before Reyes could react, the alarms in the station blared to life, signaling that the weapon was active. Hargrave's voice rang out again, this time with a sickening finality. "You don't have much time. The countdown has begun." Reyes looked at his team, their faces grim. The betrayal had cut deep, but now wasn't the time for hesitation. They had a mission to complete. With one final desperate glance at Hargrave, Rise ordered his team to move. "We stop this now. We save Earth, no matter the cost." Cliffhanger. As they raced toward the weapon's core, the station trembled violently. Suddenly, a surge of energy from the weapon's core blasted through the chamber, and Hargrave's voice came over the comms, dripping with malice. "It's too late. You've already lost." The countdown had reached its final 10 seconds. The Galactic Authority's message had shaken the world, but humanity was nothing if not resilient. In the wake of the transmission, the global response was a fractured mix of fear, confusion, and defiance. Political leaders scrambled to find solutions. The UN convened in emergency sessions, but their discussions quickly dissolved into chaos, as nations with opposing interests demanded different responses. Some advocated for immediate surrender, hoping to preserve their populations, while others pushed for defiance, determined to retain sovereignty at any cost. In the United States, President Evelyn Marks, a former military strategist, took the lead. Her words, broadcast live, were laced with unwavering resolve. "We will not submit. We will defend our home. This is not just about Earth. This is about every free world in the galaxy." Her speech, though intended to unite, only deepened the divide. Nationalistic pride surged, and old enemies began to lay aside their differences. Albeit begrudgingly, the human spirit was alive, and despite the overwhelming odds, there was a growing sense of unity. Yet, amidst the debate, something unexpected began to happen. The meme started. It started with small groups on the internet, mocking the Galactic Authority's robotic translation, poking fun at their condescending tone. But the memes quickly spread like wildfire. The message they carried was clear. Earth wasn't afraid. Cosmic bullies. "We've dealt with worse." One popular meme read, showing a picture of an alien ship with the phrase, "Welcome to Earth," superimposed in bold letters. People laughed, at least for a moment. They'd ridiculed the authority in ways no one thought possible. As the days passed, the world's leaders realized the situation was deteriorating faster than they had anticipated. Earth's resistance was not just a political response. It was a cultural phenomenon. On every street corner, in every city, people were chanting slogans of defiance. The world had gone from fear to outright anger. And then, something truly remarkable happened. An encrypted message came through on Earth's military channels, a cryptic signal decoded by a team of rogue hackers working out of a basement in Tokyo. It was a simple, unassuming message. "We can break their encryption." The message was sent from a source that wasn't entirely clear, but it was unmistakable. Humans had hacked into the Galactic Authority's communications, even if only partially. The authorities had underestimated the sheer chaos Earth could cause with its unmatched creativity and resourcefulness. Despite all the alien tech and systems beyond human understanding, it was this human ingenuity that would begin to turn the tide. Meanwhile, aboard the massive alien ship, Prefect Jorkal scowled as his systems detected the breach. His orders were clear. Earth was to be subdued, one way or another. "We'll make them regret their insolence," he muttered to himself. The treacherous journey through space had brought Earth's last hope to the most unexpected of battlegrounds, the Moon. As Earth's strategic reserves of ships and technology rallied in preparation for the coming fight, Luna, Earth's closest celestial neighbor, became the staging ground for humanity's most desperate defense yet. It was the last bastion, the final stepping stone before Earth itself. General Mara Voss stood at the head of the war room, her gaze locked on the holographic projection of the Moon's surface. A network of defensive installations, solar-powered cannons, automated drone strikes, and makeshift command bunkers covered the lunar surface, but it wasn't enough. The Galactic Authority's armada was fast approaching, their massive vessels casting long shadows over the Moon's barren expanse. They were coming to crush humanity's defiance, and this battle would be the tipping point. The stakes were clear. Hold Luna, or Earth would be next. If they lost the Moon, The Galactic Authority would have free access to Earth's orbit, and the planet would be vulnerable to direct assault. The enemy's technological superiority was staggering, but the humans' resolve was stronger than ever. "Everyone on this base knows what's at stake," Voss said to the gathered officers, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "We don't just defend Luna. We defend everything we've fought for. Our homes, our future, and we will make them pay for every inch of ground." But the defense of Luna wasn't going to be easy. The Galactic Authority's fleet, more numerous than ever, loomed above them, and new, terrifying warships had emerged from the depths of space. These vessels were unlike anything Earth had encountered before. Massive, cylindrical ships, armed with advanced particle weapons, capable of decimating entire fleets in moments. The humans could barely comprehend the scale of the new threat, but they had no choice but to face it head-on. The battle began as soon as the enemy ships entered range. The initial barrage of fire from the Galactic Authority was devastating, obliterating several of Earth's outer defenses in seconds. The moon's surface was suddenly alight with explosions, turning the once serene landscape into a hellish battlefield. However, Earth's forces did not falter. They fought back with everything they had: laser beams, missiles, and improvised tactics that baffled the invaders. A ragtag group of fighters, piloting ships with repurposed alien tech, danced through enemy fire, striking where they could. Amidst the chaos, Captain Ezra Reyes' cover team, fresh from the Operation Foreign mission, made their way down to the lunar surface to engage in an audacious strike against the Galactic Authority's supply lines. Their objective was simple: sabotage the enemy's ability to resupply and coordinate, thus weakening their grip on the battle. But as they neared their target, they encountered an unexpected force. The station they had planned to infiltrate was not a typical supply base. It was a weapons platform, capable of launching devastating missiles at Earth itself. Reyes and his team fought their way through the alien defenses, but the deeper they went, the more they realized the station's true purpose. It wasn't just a supply depot. It was a launch platform for a weapon capable of wiping out entire continents on Earth. Cliffhanger. Reyes' team found the core of the weapons platform, but as they prepared to plant explosives, a voice crackled through their comms. "You shouldn't have come here." The voice was chilling, familiar, and somehow human. As the lights flickered, they turned to find a figure stepping from the shadows, one they never expected to see. The aftermath of the skirmish over Saturn was a fragile victory. The Galactic Authority's fleet had suffered significant losses, but Earth's forces had paid a steep price. The humans had won a battle, but they had no illusions. This was just the beginning. The threat was far from over, with more reinforcements arriving from deep within the Galactic Authority's vast empire. Earth's tenuous defenses were on the verge of collapse. General Mara Voss paced the command center, the faces of her exhausted crew flickering in holographic windows. They had won, but barely. The Galactic Authority's next wave was already on its way, and if Earth didn't unite, they would be crushed. But in the days that followed, something extraordinary began to happen. The news of Earth's unexpected success in space, the victory against all odds, ignited a fire within humanity. A fire that no alien empire, no matter how powerful, could have predicted. Nations that had once been divided by ideology and politics began to set aside their differences. Across the globe, old rivalries between countries like the United States, China, and Russia faded into the background as the reality of the alien threat unified them in a way nothing else could. In every city, from the bustling streets of Paris to the crowded markets of New Delhi, there was only one goal: survival. The Terran Defense Pact was born, an unprecedented alliance formed between governments, corporations, and citizens alike. Every person, from the wealthiest elites to the poorest farmers, pitched in to support the cause. Scientists, engineers, and technicians worked around the clock to reverse engineer the alien technology and adapt it to humanity's needs. The world's leading minds came together, setting aside years of scientific rivalry, united by a single mission: to fight. At the same time, Earth's military forces were rapidly reorganized. New training programs were created for the millions of volunteers who flocked to enlist. Though many were untrained, their resolve was unmatched. It wasn't long before the Terran Defense Forces, armed with a mishmash of repurposed alien weaponry and Earth's own ingenuity, became an organized and surprisingly effective fighting force. The world's leaders, too, began to align. President Evelyn Marks emerged as a symbol of hope, her speeches not only galvanizing the troops but the entire planet. Her words were simple but powerful. This is not just Earth's fight. It is the fight of every free species. We stand together, or we fall alone. But with unity came its challenges. There were whispers of sabotage from within the human ranks, traitors, defectors, and spies who didn't trust the new order. These rogue elements threatened to fracture the fragile peace, but President Marks refused to let it unravel. The enemies of Earth were not just in space. They were among them as well. Cliffhanger. As Earth's forces scrambled to prepare for the next wave of invasion, a shadowy figure deep within the Terran command revealed a horrifying truth. Someone within Earth's leadership had been feeding intel to the Galactic Authority. The time to find the traitor was running out. The sky over Earth darkened as an enormous silent vessel materialized above the atmosphere. Its surface shimmered with a metallic sheen, reflecting the sun's rays, and its sheer size was impossible to comprehend. Towering miles high, it eclipsed the clouds and cast a shadow that stretched across continents. In mere hours, it became the most visible thing in the sky. Global news channels scrambled for information, the usual voices of anchors and analysts crackling with panic. Scientists, military officials, and politicians were rushed into bunkers for emergency meetings. From the moment the craft appeared, Earth knew they weren't alone. The Galactic Authority had arrived. The alien vessel, spherical and adorned with intricate geometric patterns, was a beacon of advanced technology, too perfect for human comprehension. It orbited the planet in a calculated, almost dismissive manner, never deviating from its predetermined path. The message broadcast from it came in a multitude of languages, but the translation was faulty, mechanical. What should have been a message of diplomacy came out as a cold, bureaucratic demand. We are the Galactic Authority. Your species has been assessed as Category 9, primitive. All previous communications and requests have been ignored. This will be your final warning. The voices in the transmission were detached, emotionless, and dismissive. Submit to integration, or you will face eradication. The process will commence within 30 Earth rotations. Choose wisely. On the ground, panic spread like wildfire, but there was also confusion. Category 9, primitive. Earth's representatives were flabbergasted. The message wasn't a greeting, it was an ultimatum. Earth was nothing more than a raw resource to be integrated, perhaps assimilated, by the Galactic Authority. The word eradication hung heavily in the air. Across the globe, countries reacted differently. Some nations, like the United States and Russia, saw it as a call to arms, but the immediate lack of unity was evident. Governments scrambled to prepare militarily, while tech experts and scientists dissected the alien technology already visible in the skies. They had no idea what they were dealing with. How could they? In the midst of the chaos, an online meme surfaced. Earth's collective voice had started to fight back. "Bring it on, cosmic bullies," read the caption, accompanied by an image of the alien craft photoshopped with a cartoonish "Welcome to Earth" banner. The message, though absurd, rang with defiance. It was humanity's first response, and it echoed across the world. Above, Prefect Jorkal, observing from the control deck of the massive vessel, noted the reactions with a clinical detachment. The primitives were frightened, yet strangely proud. He scowled, already concluding their fate. "Prepare for immediate intervention," he ordered. But the humans were not done yet. The true test had only just begun.